Hi, I'm Melinda Van Fleet, and welcome to the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. I'm a success coach, speaker, and business consultant, and my husband Ryan and I were laid off at the same time 10 years ago. We moved to the Florida Keys without jobs, not knowing anyone, hardly any money, and we never even been here. But we made it, and now we're living our best lives. And all along on our journey, I've said that someday when we get our quote-unquote shit together, we will help others. And since then, we've both done a lot of self-work and built successful businesses. So that day is here, and one of my ways of paying it forward is through this podcast. Each week, my intent is to be relatable and bring you tactical tips, tools, share my learnings and stories that can help inspire or transform you wherever you are in your career or general life and make an impact. I strongly believe that if I can do it, you can do it too. So what's stopping you? Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me this week on the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. I am super excited to share my guest with you, Joshua Reyes. I was on his podcast, BYOB, back in June, and we talk a little bit about that. And I just loved chatting with him. He has such a great story that he shares on this podcast. I'm not going to ruin it. And often as interviewers, you don't get to share your story. So I just really wanted to give him this spotlight so he can help others because his story is extremely inspirational and he has a lot of amazing words of wisdom, and I just want other people to hear it as well. So without any further introduction, I'm going to get on with the podcast because it's a little longer one and I want everyone to be able to listen to the whole thing. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you love it. Thanks.
So one of my favorite quotes is from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and it is, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy."
Wow. Welcome, Joshua. I am so excited to have you on the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. How are you?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, cool. I love Dr. Martin Luther King quotes. So thank you so much for sharing that with the audience. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Very cool. So just so the audience knows, I was on Joshua's podcast back in June. It was episode 16. He has his own really amazing podcast called BYOB, Be You Only Better. And I had heard his story of his background of something that happened to him years ago, as well as I just really admire and think his business and what he does now as a practitioner is amazing for people. So I wanted to have him on the podcast. So cool. Do you want to just kick it off with your story and share?
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So let's see where to start. So in terms of my story, just to kind of bring you some background, I've been a massage therapist for about a decade now. And then I also pursued, further education. I actually got a bachelor's in biology and even pursued, professional school and that type of thing. But the story that you're probably interested in is my near-death experience.
Yeah.
So it was August 12th of 2016, where I was actually in Big Spring, which is an hour away from where I currently reside, where I was born and raised in Odessa, Texas. And while I was in Big Spring, I was training for a triathlon. I figured I was going to be there for about 6 weeks. And in training, you do a swim, bike, run. So I was actually out on a bike ride, and I was about 30 miles in, and I was 4 blocks away from where I was currently staying. And there was a maroon Dodge Durango. And it was just coming over the back, and just like every car that's passed me before, I look over my shoulder, I give way, but this one was slightly different. This one actually came by and clipped me with the passenger side of their car, and it cut my side open, but it didn't knock me off my bike. And so I kept pedaling to try to get away. I was like, what a jerk, And anyways, he actually drove out in front of me, stopped, and reversed, and proceeded to actually run over me. And the last thing I remember is literally going underneath the car and just being slid across the road into the side of the road where he ran over me at least 2 more times, because I went to go visit the site, and there were tire marks that went up and down at least twice. So that knocked me out for about 20 minutes, and it shattered my bike into well over a dozen pieces. It broke my helmet, and I had tire marks all over my body. And I came to. Luckily, he literally left me for dead, and he just took off. And I woke up with the frame of my bike between my legs, and I grabbed the frame of the bike and I moved it out from between so that I could stand up, because in my mind I was just thinking I was still in trouble. I need to run, get away, or whatever. And I was looking for my phone, and the only reason I know I was out for 20 minutes was I was tracking everything GPS, and it didn't move for 20 minutes.
Oh,
And
wow.
my phone had actually flown away, really, really far away. But anyways, as I was going to stand up, a red van pulled up, and in my mind I thought it was like the same one, and I was like, my heart started racing, but I couldn't move. And it was an older guy and a younger woman. And the old guy asked me, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was trying to answer, but I don't think anything actually came out. And he goes, "You don't look okay." I blink my eyes, ambulance gets there, everybody's talking to me, asking me questions. I blink my eyes again, I'm in the ER. And doctor is kind of freaking out. Like, whenever they took me in there, I mean, I was in there immediately. So they started doing scans and all that stuff. And I remember making a joke. I was like, "Do I need a smile?" For these pictures, or when they're taking pictures of my body, checking for internal bleeding and broken bones and stuff. And anyways, they took all these pictures, and I get back into the room, and an officer comes in to get my statement. And as he's getting the description of kind of what happened, he's like, "I know who that is. This guy's just a gangbanger, low life thug around here, whatever." And apparently he was like out on bail with like a pending murder charge or something. I don't know exactly what was going on or why he was even out, but um, they actually had him arrested within 30 minutes of my statement.
Wow.
And so it actually ended up working out. But the doctor came back in. He goes, "We have no idea why you are still alive. There's no reason why you should be. The amount of like trauma and just having a vehicle run over you, just should have ended your life. We've seen people who've experienced less and didn't make it." And he's like, "You actually don't have any broken bones. All I had was a concussion and contusion, just bruises and road rash on my back." So I was super, super lucky. Um, Unfortunately, most of my stuff went into evidence and is still probably over there, whatever they do with evidence. So I didn't get to keep anything, even though I wanted something as a keepsake.
Yeah.
Uh, but anyways, I asked the cop. I said, "Hey, can I go ahead and get the number to whoever called 911 for me, because I know I didn't, and I would like to thank him." He's like, "Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and call him for you." Well, anyways, they called the number and they said, "You know what? That number doesn't exist."
Oh,
Um, so it was like disconnected or something. So the way I took it was, those were my guardian angels, who were watching over me whenever, I probably should have died. I might have had lunch with Jesus and I don't really remember it. But, I just, from that moment, I just really felt like everything that I was doing was meant to be. And I really felt like I used it kind of to empower myself, in terms of, really felt like I was on the right road and God wanted me here for a reason. And he's just kind of saying like, you still have more to do here. And ultimately that kind of led me to applying to PA school and just kind of checking my options.
uh-huh.
At the time I still hadn't opened the spa, but it was definitely a thought. And I, at that point, really felt reassured that that was the way that I wanted to go. And whenever, I thought about applying to PA school, I kind of did both, right? And I applied to PA school and I actually got in, but my heart ultimately told me that I would be happier, with the spa. And I am so happy that I picked the spa, because, it really came down to impact. And, I kind of asked myself, who could I have the most impact with if I were choosing between the two? And, as a single practitioner, you can only serve so many people at a time in a day, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And here we are with the spa. I knew that I was going to be able to reach more people, and that's actually ultimately what led me to franchising the spa, and which is something that kind of got put on hold with the whole quarantine thing. So it's still in the process, but the whole idea is just to be able to have a positive impact. And we know we were able to create something that our community really needed. And that's why, the spa is doing so well. We actually just celebrated our 2-year anniversary on the 12th
Wow.
of July.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, just super, super blessed, and we've actually had at least 3,000 people come through the spa within the 2 years. So that's definitely more than I could have ever seen as a PA by myself. So yeah, that's my story, in terms of having that near death experience and just really, being able to have clarity as to like why I'm here. And speaking of why, I can't speak to the importance of having a why or what motivates you. And
Mm.
for me, that's become, to inspire others to do what inspires them. And that's something that we try to practice in the spa. Yeah, a lot of people think, oh, you go to the spa, you go to relax, but really, we lead with why, and we want you to live a happier and healthier lifestyle. So that's everything that we do there caters to that specifically.
Mm.
And we want you to be the healthiest self so that you can go move forward and contribute positively to the community in however you do that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's why I wanted to keep my intro with you kind of general, because I wanted people to like hear the story. And I know I sat here with chills because yeah, they're your guardian angels, like, and so amazing you didn't have any broken bones. That's kind of just wild in itself, like separate.
Yeah.
How would you say, it's a little off the cuff here, your faith was and your belief around, let's say, guardian angels or anything around that prior to this happening to you, and then now, like, how do you feel with it, post happening to you?
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, I grew up Catholic, and my family were pretty devout. We go to church every Sunday and all that stuff. So, to some degree, it strengthened my faith in that, I definitely pray more. I'm definitely more thankful. But if I'm being honest, just kind of getting the clarity of knowing the direction that you're wanting to go and where you feel like this is your purpose, then
Mhm.
everything else kind of just starts to elevate with that. So my biggest recommendation to people is to kind of figure it out, and I hope that it doesn't take a near death experience to figure out what your purpose is. But whenever you do find it, you'll find that you start praying and asking and putting it out into the universe, I guess, kind of what it is that you're looking for. And then those things you'll naturally attract them. So in terms of, when you're talking about faith and that, I really believe that it did help increase my faith, and above, in addition to that was my gratitude just for everyone and all of that. So one thing that actually happened on the back end of my near death experience is I developed an autoimmune disease. It's psoriatic arthritis, and it is actually pretty severe. So shortly after, within the next 3 months of my accident, like after I was kind of starting to heal, I noticed that my joints would just swell for no reason. Just kind of all the areas that actually got ran over, which was everything. And it's enough to make doctors cringe when they see my body. In terms of, hey, you're young, you're supposed to be healthy, and all that stuff. But that kind of went out the window whenever I got psoriatic arthritis. And for those of you that don't know, psoriasis is a skin issue. And then the arthritis part is when it starts to deteriorate on the inside. So it not only affects you on the outside, but the inside. And I have both, and relatively severe. So to the point that, excuse me, whenever I have a flare up, it's actually hard to breathe because the cartilage within my ribs don't want to expand anymore because they flare up, and it gets really tough to just even take a breath. And that's when it's really the scariest for me, is whenever I feel that. But the reason I bring that up is I'm actually lucky to have that. I actually appreciate having chronic pain because for me, it's a daily reminder to be healthy and to keep continuing to be my best self. A lot of people, we try to establish habits in order to be healthy, but, I get a constant reminder, and that's kind of how I see it now is if I'm not doing the right things, then I get an immediate notification that that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. But in addition to having, an autoimmune disease, I'm immunocompromised. So especially during this time with, COVID and all that stuff, I have to be extra careful, because I'm just significantly more prone to certain diseases and viruses for sure. And one of the things that I ended up getting in addition to that was shingles. I don't know if you've ever had that. Have you had that?
I
Or,
haven't, but I do know people that have, and
yeah.
I've heard it's not a fun experience.
It's brutal, So I've had it before, and I equate it to if 1,000 bees just stung you
Oh,
on your nerves. Yeah, so it was crazy. So that I couldn't find a way to make that positive. That was just something that I had to
yeah, that's
get
like,
through.
please
But
go away. Like the bees, please.
yeah, that's it. It was brutal, and I was just like, wow, I hope this never happens again. Um, yeah, I don't know exactly where I was going with that,
Yeah,
but
no,
I do
but
like.
it is because a lot of people do have different struggles, but their mindset isn't in regards to looking at it from a different lens, right? Looking at it
Absolutely.
positively or something that they can inspire others with. So that's pretty amazing. So do you deal with the arthritis every day because you play the guitar? Like how
Yeah.
you have all these things, Joshua.
So, I do, yeah. So, I actually haven't played the guitar prior to the quarantine. It had probably been at least like 6 or 8 years or so. It's been a long time. And so I'm actually grateful for the quarantine. It actually gave me time to really just sit and be a little more introspective. I'm an introvert by nature, so I'm naturally in my own head, but I always keep myself busy, especially when things slow down. I go even faster. I've always been that way. Whenever people want to take a break, I keep going.
Yeah, same here. It's a good trait.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
So at some point though, you do need time to just stop and be still and wait for those answers. And then that's kind of what ultimately led me to, making the podcast and trying to help other people. And obviously I have a lot of things going on, but at the same time, music, you brought up the guitar, was, excuse me, was a way for me to just calm my mind and not think,
Mhm.
which I highly recommend for everyone, especially if you're a busybody like us.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if my guitar options are at my age, but yeah, I think to myself, just like listening to more music I need to do, or just dancing if I feel like a fool, whatever, no one sees me, but maybe my husband, right? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a good way to express some type of, I'm just going to bucket that as creativity.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you need to balance your creativity and logical mind, your creative and logical mind, just because, if you're trying to get answers all the time, they're not going to come because you might be thinking too much. And, but you asked me about my arthritis, and one thing that did change, I used to be a morning person. I used to be up at 5 every morning, if not earlier. And now I'm up at that time for a different reason, just because it's difficult to sleep now. But what has changed is I'm not a morning person anymore. Just because there will be times where I do get like stuck, or if after a long night, I have to like stretch and warm up. So it takes me about 30 minutes to an hour to actually get out of bed. So that's really the biggest difference, I would say. But I use that time to just think, reflect, and kind of set up what I want to do that day. So one thing, in terms of habits, since I have to like kind of lie there, I've just to kind of speak to something that I've incorporated. If you're one of those types that you have chronic pain and you need to take some time to kind of warm up for the day or cool down for the night or whatever, you can use that time to just reflect over the day. And I think a lot of people struggle with happiness or anxiety, depression, that type of thing. And I think just kind of doing this little exercise has helped me a lot, because I was in that before. And instead of looking at a day based on progress, like knocking out all to-dos, and a good day is based on how much progress you made, because there are going to be days where you don't knock anything off your list, and you shouldn't be sad for those days. But instead of looking at it as a list of to-dos, maybe you can look at it like, the top two things: where did you give or were you gracious that day? So if every day you give or you grow in that day, then for me, it was a good day. And at night before I go to sleep, I think about, did I give and did I grow today, or did I do one or the other? And then in the morning, I think, how am I going to give? How am I going to grow today? And that's what I use that time, and just kind of really think about and be really conscious about, being gracious and, trying to have a positive impact.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm going to borrow that if you don't mind. I will give you
Yeah, please.
that is really cool. I have never heard that before, and I think that's really awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I was going to
Absolutely.
ask you, being what you have going on, and this was even before you mentioned your chronic pain, what your like daily practice was like, especially since you have the spa, are there any of the things, the services that you offer at the spa that you incorporate into your life, anything like that you want to dive into?
Absolutely. So, if you have an autoimmune disease, most doctors want to put you on a biologic or immunosuppressant, and that exists. I mean, you probably heard a commercial on Humira, or a bunch of other drugs like that, or even anti-cancer drugs. And I've been on all of them, and I hated it every single moment that I was on it
Oh,
because of all the side effects, and it's just brutal. And then you're very limited for things that you can do, and your energy levels change, and it's no fun. So I actually have decided to never take those medications again. I mean, when it first started, I was just wanting to get rid of the pain so much, and then now I've just kind of embraced it. But I will tell you, the only things that actually help are getting massages and doing flotation therapy, and getting in the infrared, and really just like eating healthy and kind of exercising regularly. um, it sounds counterintuitive with having arthritis and working out, but actually it helps a ton. You really do need to make sure you're doing weight bearing exercise, properly, of course, with proper form. And there are going to be days where you just don't want to do it. And I can actually talk all day on habits for sure. But at the same time, it's really just to briefly go over habits. A lot of us try to change what we do, and even how we do it, which it works, but it takes willpower. But until you see yourself and you change the identity of who you are, you're always going to it's always going to require willpower. So the best example that I can give is, if you see yourself as a healthy person, then you can easily distinguish between eating like a donut versus a salad. But if given the option, hey, do you want a donut or do you want a salad, you're going to probably go with a donut because it's like immediate gratification. But if you're trying to be healthy, then it takes conscious effort to say no to the donut and then pick the salad. But if instead you say, no, I'm a healthy person, it's a slight distinction. Then you would ask yourself at that moment, what would a healthy person do? And instead of picking a donut, you would say, what would a healthy person do? And then it's easy that you already have the answer. You're probably screaming it in your head, and you would say the healthy person would go with the salad. Yeah. So in the same way, of like working out, I know it's really hard to incorporate new habits. A lot of people say, hey, it takes 21 days to do that, and to me that sounds tedious. But if
thank you.
if you yeah, but if you really just start to see yourself as a healthy person or as a runner, then you start to make choices that healthy people make and that runners do. And we can get into details of that another time. But yeah, I mean, it's just all about changing your identity. I guess one last example, just to really hit it home, is say we're outside and there are two people and we offer them a smoke, and we give the first person, he says, no, I'm trying to quit. And then the second person says, I'm not a smoker. So very same answer, superficially, right?
Hmm.
But whenever you get down to the mindset, the person who says, I'm trying to quit, still sees himself as a smoker. And that was a conscious effort for him to say, no, I'm not going to smoke. But the second person said, I am not a smoker. So he made a pre-decision already that I'm not a smoker. So anytime that comes up, a smoker that doesn't smoke, I'm sorry. He said, I'm not a smoker, so I'm not going to smoke any time that comes forward.
Yeah, yeah, and you are 100% correct. I announced this on my podcast a couple weeks ago, but I am on a healthy eating, weight release journey that is a lifestyle change. Like there's no going back because everything will come back to you, right? And I'm old enough to know that. I've been through enough programs. So you're right. Like I've had to change my mind that I'm a healthy eater. I'm not just trying to lose weight or be on a diet. So, and I do think it helps. It really
Yeah.
does shift when, yesterday I made my husband mac and cheese for lunch because that's what he wanted. And that's normally one of my downfalls, my, temptations. Didn't want it because I'm a healthy eater now. And
Exactly.
I'm skinny, I'm fit, all my clothes fit me really well, like all those things I can say in
Yeah.
my head. And,
Awesome.
I pushed past it and I was fine. So it is amazing how you can just change if you shift your
Yeah.
words, how it really can impact how you behave and feel about yourself. So that's really
Absolutely. And that's,
a great
yeah,
example.
and just to bring everything full circle, that's what we do at the spa. We
Mhm.
advocate for a healthy lifestyle. And, you start making healthy lifestyle choices, and then it just becomes easy to know that massage is good for you, to get regularly, to get facials regularly, to float if you like floating, but to really just take care of yourself. And, whenever you start to do that, then everything else just kind of falls into place. If you're taking care of your body, then you're going to start taking care of your mind.
Yeah.
Take care of your
Yeah.
mind, you start eating right and all those things. And just to bring it all full circle, that's me now. I don't have a choice to be healthy. I am healthy, and I have to be healthy because my body will tell me otherwise immediately.
Wow. Yeah, that's really powerful. And one more question too about the spa, because I didn't realize this in regards to how you're speaking about it, but it sounds too like you provide coaching almost in a way. It's not like you're just in and out with a service. Am I correct?
Yeah, in a way. So all of our therapists are, highly trained, and something that I always advocate for is, we're not just here to get them in, get them out. We want them to have what we call a full experience. And that is everything within the spa, everything that we can control, and then between treatments as well. That's why we're so big on, making sure that we're making recommendations for them to stay healthy and for it to just be easier for them to live a healthier lifestyle.
Mm.
And then that comes with, I wouldn't necessarily call it coaching, but maybe more so advice,
Advice.
and proper guidance, because this is what we go to school for. And we want to make sure that we're always giving just the right advice, the right instruction in terms of how to really take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't realize that. So
Yeah, and honestly, that's kind of what makes us different than everybody else. But I hope what you're getting is that, among everything, everybody knows what they do, right? So when you're looking at spas, everyone knows, okay, every spa offers massage, so that's what. But when it comes to why, then you can really feel the difference whenever you go to the spa, our spa, Revival Float Spa, versus any other place.
yeah, totally, totally. And the same thing back to the healthy eating, the program that I'm doing and also coaching in, they revert back to the why as well. So
Absolutely.
it's super important if you just remember why you're doing something. It's pretty amazing. Even today, I saw a picture. I'll probably put a post about it someday, and it just triggered something from my childhood. And all those things you have in your brain that lead up to your why of why you want to make change or help others. So it's just super important. And that's really cool to hear that that's like the foundation of what you do. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I honestly cannot stress the importance of why. And I know it sounds cliche, why do you do it? Nobody really cares, but honestly, they do.
Yeah.
So just really quick, I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but in terms of where why comes from,
Mhm.
that comes from the center of our brain. A lot of people say, you can have a list of benefits, and then everything just makes sense. But then you say, you know what? That looks great, but it just doesn't feel right. Right? Have you ever said that before? You see how great
Yeah.
something is, and like it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And that is the part of the brain that where our why speaks to. And the reason it works that way is that area of our brain doesn't have words, and there's no way to verbalize anything that happens in that section of the brain. So the way we verbalize it is, it doesn't feel right. So whenever you lead with why and you're trying to get people to do business with you, you lead with why, you share a story, and that speaks to the center of the brain where people actually make decisions. Everyone thinks that everyone's logical and needs to hear all the benefits, but truly they want to resonate. They want to know that they can trust you. And the way that they trust you is you be vulnerable, you lead with why, and then you'll realize that people they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I've not heard it explained like that before. That's very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Gosh, so many good nuggets. I hope the audience loves this podcast. This is amazing. Can you share, before we close out, with obviously how for folks to get hold of you, but also share a mantra or affirmation with the audience?
Sure. Okay. So the best way to reach me would probably be Facebook or Instagram. So on Facebook, I just made a page. Like I should have did this like months ago, but I'm just kind of now getting around to it. So I apologize.
No, I'm the same. So
Yeah, if it looks like there's no followers, I promise you we do have followers. We have people that like us. So it's facebook.com/BYOB audio. So all together, if you're looking at the website. And then on Instagram, my personal page is at Joshua L. Reyes, Reyes, Reyes. So those are the best places to reach me. Feel free to direct message me anytime. I'm relatively responsive. So in the you asked for like an affirmation, and I guess in terms of an affirmation, I think a lot of people say certain things and they want to put it out in the universe, but I think what they all actually cater to is your way of being. And this is actually a whole nother thing, but it does speak to the habits that we were just talking about of seeing yourself as like identifying as a healthy person and seeing your identity change. So in terms of something that I say every day, it's me channeling my way of being. And just to put it into description, a lot of people say that, oh, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm happy, I'm these things, but those are all feelings. So who you are versus what you feel are two different things. And a lot of times we get caught up saying, I am depressed, and you are not a depressed person. You are whatever you are. You're amazing, and whatever it is. But the way that you feel is like that, which is okay. It's okay to feel like that, but it will pass. But whenever you say that you are that, then that's whenever it starts to affect how you feel all the time. And that's why I'm a big believer in the way of being. So my way of being is I say this every day. I look at it before I go to sleep and whenever I wake up, and it's actually on my board. And it is, I am hardworking. Oh, I am a hardworking, empowering, and authentic leader. So, excuse me. Although it sounds, I don't know, cliche or whatever, but this is how I see myself, and this is what I want to be. And, within that statement, it doesn't say I am depressed, I am happy, I am sad. But the reason why this is important is this is how I see myself. And yes, even though I am a hardworking, empowering, authentic leader, I can still feel depressed. I can still feel sad, and I can find a way to, erase those feelings or get over those feelings. So, if you ever feel like you are sad, you're having anxious things, you can go and see a counselor or a therapist or whatever to help you with that if you need to. But, I hope that in channeling your way of being, you see yourself a certain way. Find some adjectives that resonate with you, and then find the noun, whatever it is that you want to be. If you're an author, if you write books, you can be an author. If you're a marathon runner, be a runner, and those types of things. Just see yourself a different way and differentiate what you do from how you feel. And I promise you, you're going to feel so much better in doing business and just in life.
That's awesome. It is beautiful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule, so I also appreciate your time and everything you shared on the podcast. Thanks, Joshua.
Yeah, absolutely. This is so fun. I appreciate it, Melinda.
Yes, thank you.